good afternoon, everyone. It's a lovely sunny afternoon here, and it's beautiful June, and I am thrilled to be talking to Kate Shapland, which, by the way, I'm obsessed with her products, and we will go into how and why. Kate, please introduce yourself and tell everyone how amazing you are, because that's what I think of you. I do.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
The feeling's mutual. That's very kind of you.
Well, from female brand owner to female brand owner, and yeah, much
well, there's many of us now, which is what's so lovely. There's a real community, and I think the really important thing about that is that it means that we can share so much, not just of the triumphs, but all the kind of, you know, wheels coming off the lorry situations as well. And I think that that's just a great thing about being in this business and being on this side of the business, as opposed to the business that I used to be in, which was as a journalist.
Could you possibly share your background? Because it's just amazing how you've changed industries and why, and I'd love to hear what everyone would. I'd love to hear that.
Well, I suppose it was sort of, I changed industries, I guess out of necessity in the end, because I'd have happily gone on writing about beauty forever. And that's what I'd been doing for my whole career, and had written for everybody, started in the very, very early days on Harper's Bazaar, which you'll know in those days was actually Harper's and Queen, but then it was renamed alongside its US counterpart. And I was lucky enough to start there. I was a complete insect in the fashion department. I had, I served, if you like, 3 of the fashion editors. So Hamish Bowles, who's gone on obviously to work on US Vogue and is incredibly famous, and all sorts of people. And I really kind of, that was my baptism by fire. And I was incredibly lucky because I was working for people who, that the industry was much smaller in those days, as you know. I mean, there were far fewer beauty brands, far fewer PRs, far fewer magazines, and obviously there was
absolute microclimate. It really was.
It was a hotbed.
It was.
And some amazingly talented people, which of course there are now, but there was less of it, so it was much more condensed. It was very Devil Wears Prada, actually.
And the same photographers going around. Same journos going around.
Yeah, completely. And I think probably the things I took from that was obviously working on print. In those days, Harper's was the last magazine to use hot metal to print the pages, which meant that everything you did had to be absolutely perfect before it went to print. Otherwise, it was a complete disaster. There was no going back and changing things at the last minute, which we can obviously do now. And I think what that did for me, along with the other sort of disciplines of my job, which were working in the fashion department, I put together all the merchandising pages. So all that information about the clothing, the fabrics, the prices, the stockists, that all came from my stuff. So that eye for detail was incredibly important. And I think it gave me, along with the sort of, you know, future years of seeing lots and lots of beauty products, which is, you know, the side of the business I went into, it gave me a very refined aesthetic. So it made me sort of be able to see things absolutely from immediately. And I found that I think that skill probably really came to fruition when I did my column on the Telegraph, which was the last journalism job I did. And I did that weekly for 14 years. And, you know, as you know, in this business, in beauty, you get sent lots and lots of products. And it gets to a point where, you can spot a winner, a gem, immediately. It's sort of
amongst
almost
the weeds,
coming off it.
But you can.
You really can. And actually, sometimes weeds can turn out to be complete triumphs,
winners.
But they just don't look it. So there again is a bit of a lesson, you know, a product can look, but be brilliant. But it just gave me the eye. And I think that really helped me in terms of how, you know, when it came to developing Legology, how I wanted it to look, how I wanted it to perform, how I wanted it to feel, smell, all of those things that go into the experience of a product, which, as you know, is so important. And also, I guess my years in beauty journalism gave me, you know, it gave me that sort of support network of people. So alongside my contemporaries, my beauty writing contemporaries, I got to meet everybody I needed to meet. You know, the makeup artists, the hairstylists, the surgeons, all the experts, and got to understand all that information about skin, mostly skin, and biotechnology early on, before anyone else. And that's an amazing thing, because it gives you that understanding as to what's happening and how the markets are developing. The problem with it is, I felt, and I feel this more and more on reflection, is that you're so far ahead that your consumer, if you like, is a little bit left behind, and she's a bit further away from where you are.
I'm
and
smiling because I'm exactly the same as you. It's exactly the same feeling when I launched.
Yeah. And so it's almost as if you've got to use that knowledge and make it not sort of accessible for people who are a bit further behind, but sort of bring it to them in a sort of perhaps gentler way, and bring them the sort of the finest bits of it, but in a more understandable way, if you like, until everything catches up.
And
I looked at the market,
it's how you educate them, really. Yeah. It's how you, as a brand, educate them, and how you put it out there in terms of your protocol. They get it. But I mean, it's taken 2 years for us. Takes some time.
Yeah, and you have to keep going. And sometimes I think, I don't know about you, but I'm sure it's the same with you. And I used to feel this in my beauty writing days as well. Can I really write this again about cleanse? Can I write it again? And then I'd think, yes, because there's another 5,000 people who have never read that. Yes, so there might be fun. Right. Anyway, so as you say, yes, it's all in the messaging and the education. And I've always, my passion has always been leg care. And it just,
why has it been leg care?
Personal, absolutely personal. And I think it's always the way with people, you know, if you have an issue, you're gonna, it's like the sort of, you know, I had the problem, so I had to develop the product, and that is literally what it was. And so for me, the problem was always cellulite. I am one of those 90% of women who have it, but also I also had at the same time, and still do, a tendency to sort of cling on to water and fluid. And that's actually got worse with the years, with menopause, a whole other chapter, which, you know, I've talked a lot about actually recently, and talk more and more about with the legs, and that link with estrogen and hormones. And so I really did come at it from a personal point of view, and I tried everything. Of course, being in that position as a beauty writer, again, as I'm sure you found, you can try everything.
Well, I mean, I remember the first one for me was Clarins.
Yeah.
Which I can't remember. It was a cellulite cream.
Oh, yes.
The menthol one.
That's right. They called it spongy. They didn't call it cellulite. They called it sponginess.
They did. Very French of them. But that was the first. That was a caffeine based.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cellulite cream. Absolutely. Do you think a lot of it is because of your job where you were sitting down a lot, or you did? Yeah, right. Yep. Because it's either standing up for long periods of time, you know, all the hairdressers I know, makeup artists, shoulder pain, leg veins.
Yeah, completely.
Heavy legs.
Yeah, and chefs. And they also have terrible varicose veins as well.
Veins, absolutely.
And Amanda, air stewardess, air cabin crew. Yeah. Oh my God.
I know.
I mean, I used to go and give talks to the BA crew.
Under those opaque tights, there's a whole world of drama.
And I used to say to them, you know, how can you deal? How do you? And they were like, well, I have a mortgage to pay, so I've got to put up with this. Literally, they walk across.
But you can see when you sort of, I mean, I'm obsessed with bodies, and I'm always looking at shapes. They're not bodies to me; they're sort of shapes. I'm like, ooh, you know, you can see how puffy some of them are, and it's just, you know, it's legs up, 20 minutes on. It should be coming off a flight and put it, you know, all this anyway.
So it all pretty much comes down to the lymph.
Yes.
And you know, that is the impact on cellulite, which we'll talk about. But oddly enough, it was after a long haul flight I'd been on, and I got off, and just like everybody else, my feet were like this, and men as well. And I just thought, I cannot believe that nobody has sort of thought this through, has found a way of kind of helping this to be better. Because I noticed also that women, when it's warm, or when they're pregnant, or as you say, have been, you know, standing on a shop floor or a salon floor all day, have the same issue. And there's also that issue when you've been out at night and you've been dancing or standing on your feet all evening, and you get those shooting pains, and your legs really suffer. And I looked around, and all I could see in the leg care market was cellulite products.
So
And I thought, okay, fine, that's fine. It's rather like skincare. It's all about anti-aging. This is all about cellulite. But for me, it gave it a bit of a negative sort of message. And in fact, there is more to legs than cellulite. And I just thought there's nothing that's dedicated. And what I understood about legs and leg care was that looking after your legs is, it should be inclusive. It's all encompassing. It's not just about isolating one area where you might have cellulite, sticking a cream on it and thinking it'll go if I do this for 6 weeks. Doesn't work like that. Really, nothing really does. As we know now, we know so much more about things like this now. And so I understood early on, because I did a lot of research on it, that obviously it's about your diet. As you so rightly say, it's about moving, because it's down to your lymph.
well, this is it. I mean, the market, you will remember this, but the market was, as you say, cellulite creams. Everything was topical. No one was actually moving the skin or talking about the lymph. The only place they were talking about the lymph was in Brazil.
Yeah.
Surgery, by the way, when you have a lymphatic drainage massage in Brazil or by a Brazilian here, it's a whole other story. It's insane. It's a whole other story. And you do see that visible drain. I don't know why we're still tiny.
Well, you see, that again was my other issue.
Oh my God.
Because I was lucky enough to meet somebody who practiced that sculpting, that Brazilian bodywork.
I love it. The body contouring versions.
Absolutely brilliant. And I've only ever met maybe 2 people who've been able to do it really, really, really well. And she was tiny lady.
Big hands.
Small as an ox, big hands.
Big hands. Hands of Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And she would get them in there. And she had that intuition. She'd feel her way around your body. She knew where the pockets were. You could almost hear it pop when she moved her thumbs. So
you can feel it. The pain in a lymph, if you've got a blocked gland up the top, especially on the hip,
hurts.
Absolutely, you'll feel it. But working it out, it will start to work again. But that's why that makes sense that your job was highly affected by your job, because you are at a 90-degree angle. And so you stop that lymph. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So I had treatment with her for, I think, over a period of a year, and she changed the shape of my body completely. She taught me a lot about diet and all those things. And I loved her because, I mean, she not only taught me stuff, but it was sort of practical stuff as well. I think very often these days, you read diets, you read about sort of regimes, and sometimes it's it's just not sustainable. But with her advice was always very practical. She'd say, if you're going to drink wine, drink red, make sure it's really good quality, and you've got loads of antioxidants obviously there. Same with coffee, same with chocolate. Smoke a cigarette, smoke a roll up, there's no chemicals in it. So she had that sort of that view that it just struck me as being,
it's realistic, isn't it?
Realistic. And I loved it. And there was a certain charm to it that I felt that was needed, because as I said earlier, I felt that everything about legs was just terribly kind of not just necessarily aggressive, but just negative all the time. And
I think the messaging, I know now, I mean, obviously, because when you bring out products, you are way more, it's, especially in the US, there is zero tolerance for negative terminology on your pack. So anti-aging is
not even anti-fatigue. No,
this anyway, but it's just, it's amazing how it's good. Positivity has really flipped over into the beauty market, where it wasn't before. It was quite French. It was a bit, let's sort it all out. Please. So we're aligned in a couple of areas. I know it's it's legs and tan, but what I love about your brand is that you adore a brush.
Oh yeah,
a bit like me.
Yes.
And it's the power of a brush.
Yeah, it is. And how you use it.
And how you use it. It's the power of the tool. But it's the movements as well. It's bizarre, but it's very, very similar. please, can you explain? Because I've actually just had my veins done.
Oh, good girl, well done.
Because of my pregnancy.
Right. Is that when you got them?
I had them before because of standing, being a makeup artist for so many years. And then they sort of they just went bananas when I was pregnant into thrombosis.
Oh, really?
So I've just got them done. But prior to that and post,
yes,
this has been my best friend.
Yes, yes.
Because they're so tender.
Yeah. And they create a tenderness and heaviness as well. And a lot of women write to us and they say, can I use Airlight for varicose veins or vascular issues? And we always say, well, you know, obviously this is not a medical product. This is a cosmetic, but it will help to lighten and refresh. And I think that's enough.
Pop that on, and then your support stockings, legs up.
Yeah.
Best day of life.
Put it in the fridge first and then put it on tonight.
I'm going to do that tonight.
Well done, though. That's very brave of you to have done that.
It was painful. It was worse than childbirth. You're joking?
Yeah, it can be. I had 1 or 2 done, and but I had them done by a brilliant vascular surgeon, and you know, he's one of those people who advocates. In fact, I think he pioneered it, doing an ultrasound before you have the treatment, so they know why and where the blockages originally started. And very often they say with pregnancy it starts just under the buttock, and sometimes you don't see that. You know, you only see it further down the leg. And so I thought that's so clever, because, you know, rather than just taking them out, stripping them out, they find out where the blockage is initially, where you may not be able to see, and then go from there. So shouldn't come back.
Yeah, this is what I had, you know, the laser. I didn't have stripping. I had a laser treatment and foam sclerotherapy. Because of the ultrasound, they could find out targeted where to stop the flow.
Yeah.
Please, may you go through. So if I'm coming to you, I've got I've got heavy legs, and I'd like to, I'd love them to feel lighter, but also to lymphatic drainage wise, how can I make them look more svelte and light for summer legs? How can I create summer legs?
Summer legs. All right. Okay. Well, really try to be 365 days a year legs. I mean, summer legs, it is the reality.
Of course.
However, if you're going to do only one thing all year, it will be this.
A brush.
It will be a brush. Okay. So the idea with this is, and we touched on it earlier, it's about the lymph.
Yes.
Which people, as you say, are talking a bit more about now. And lymph is absolutely key to how you feel everywhere, to how your legs feel. It's I suppose, for want of a better expression, it's your body's waste disposal. So your lymph runs just underneath the surface of your skin, as you know. It's a little bit like your bloodstream in that it's like a network of vessels, but unlike your circulation, there is no heart to pump it round. So it only moves your lymph when you move, which is why, as you say so rightly, when we're sitting on our backsides, working as we do, that's when things tend to stop and get congested and start to puff up. And it happens in other times, as we say, you know, it happens when it's hot and when there's pressure on your legs and you're standing, but sitting is bad because you're sitting still. So you need one of these, because this humble, I mean, I just think with a body brush, it's one of those things, it looks so simple and it is incredibly simple to use, but it brings you huge benefits. You know, you get a lot of reward from a little input on this. People have really tried to overcomplicate this thing. I've seen people, you know, it's been created to, I'm going to break up my fat, I've got to use it for half an hour and then I really see a difference. No. The whole idea with this is that it's really light. Okay, so it should be as light as possible and quick. And so when people say
the action,
and when I say to people, oh, you know, if you're body brushing, just a minute before, during or after your shower, it doesn't matter as long as you're doing it properly, right?
On the targeted areas or
all over.
Okay.
The thing to remember is, yes, your legs, you're thinking about your legs, but your legs are attached to your body and your lymph goes all the way around your body. Okay, so it's really important. I mean, if you haven't got time, just do your legs, but if you can, do your whole body. So always use this brush upwards. So from your feet, literally the soles of your feet, up to your knee, a little bit behind your knee. I'll show you in a minute the flicking action I use. Behind your knee, you've got lymph nodes, so little lymph stations. So you want to push the lymph up towards those stations. So it gets the toxins, if you like, get metabolized and pushed out of the body. You've also got, you want to then go from your knees up to your thighs and over your thighs, over your buttocks, over your hips. You also want to try and do your arms exactly the same in a heartwards direction. So from your hands up to your elbows and up to the tops of your arms, even underneath, because again, more lymph under here. Okay. Now the flicking action, I call it it's just flicks. It's just quick flicks. It's not scrubbing. It's literally like this. That's literally all you need to do quickly. And if you ever go and see a lymphatic drainage expert, a massage therapist, that is how they'll use this, a brush. They don't use it to try and break up fat. They don't use it to make skin, you know, red. I mean, it'll look pinker, which is a good thing. It'll look fresher and pinker.
Circulation.
It's help with the circulation, exactly. But there's no need for that. And the other thing about it is, I mean, I know a lot of people believe you should brush dry. Personally, I think you can do it in the shower as well. And I think if it saves you time and you're just doing it the right way, you're just getting the lymph going. You're just coaxing it along. And the idea is that if you do this daily, you just give yourself that, you give your lymph that kickstart and get it going in the morning. And it does give you some energy. Makes you feel good, makes you feel better. Yes. Primes your skin really well. So whatever you put on top of this, so whether that's moisturizer, whether you're self-tan, or whatever it is, this is a good way of priming skin because naturally it's abrasive. So it will help to do what an exfoliator will do, which is to take off the top, you know, dead top layer of skin and reveal the lower part, but also help your skin because the circulation's up.
Wakes
and
it up.
Blood is running around, then it'll grab the product that you put on afterwards and help it absorb more quickly.
I use mine in the shower. I've got one here which I've sort of overused. Look, I mean, I've literally
I think you need another one.
Gone mad. I have got a brand new one here, but I thought it's quite nice to show actually.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, but I do use it in the shower with a scrub.
Yeah, good. Sometimes I use this after my shower, and I just add a couple of drops of oil on it.
Nice idea.
Messy, but it works. Nice. Then you've done 2 product applications at the same time, and it's helped to get the product moved into the skin and moving, get you moving. But as you so rightly say, it's about moving. It's about moving the skin and what's underneath it. And it is only just underneath the surface, your lymph.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need that really hard scrubbing. Okay.
And then you would apply your Airlight.
I would, as daily maintenance through the summer.
This is amazing, everyone, by the way. I am obsessed with it. I love it.
A bit of a labor of love, this one.
Yeah, I can tell it's a hero. It has got a lot of love in it.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it took, I'm trying to think back to when it took about 4 years to get it right. And I know you know what it's like getting products.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The formulation. Oh, my goodness me. Yeah. PTSD from the entire experience. I bet you have as well.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
I mean, the brushes took about 7 years. Some of the formulations took 5-6 years. Some were easier than others. But
I found that very reassuring.
Yes. I mean, I swear I got chucked out of about 5 manufacturers before a formulator went, I get you. I get what you're trying to do. And again, it's very much like your brand in terms of it's targeted.
Yeah.
And it's a different way of looking at my vertical, which is tanning.
Yeah.
You know, which is alcohol ridden and drying and DHA and light, medium and dark. And we're going, no, we're going to get away from spray tanning, and you're going to use brushes, and you're going to prep it, and you're going to use cosmeceuticals, and then you're going to put beautiful vegan butters over it. I mean, it's a process.
Yes, it is.
But it's about the end result.
But I think also what's so delicious is that with the brush, and I've watched this sort of, you know, I've watched the application. It looks so enticing as well, because you can sort of,
it's like, it's exactly the same as your protocol. It feels good to do. You actually feel, I mean, when I use your products, and I know that at the moment, yes, they're under sort of, you know, support stockings most of the time, but it does give me confidence because I know it's working. And I know the results at the end will be worth the prep. And it is that power of prep and maintenance, prep and maintain with everything.
And frequency.
And frequency, yeah, absolutely.
Rewards, always. I think, you know, with this product, as with you, it was a labor of love, and it was, I don't know, I mean, I'd never sort of developed anything before. So I spent, I don't know, probably the same as you, months and months and months, just looking
rounds and rounds.
Yeah, all of that. And then eventually you end up somewhere, and it can be a good place or not so good. And it's a whole journey. But what I really wanted to do with this product was to make it from scratch. And of course, until I started manufacturing, I had no idea that you had that choice. You could go and buy a formula off a shelf and
white label it.
Right. And I was like, no, we're starting right fresh. This is a very different offering, because this is about deep drainage and this is about lymph. This is not about fat. And that was the difference. And I had to find myself a French chemist who understood that, just like you, took quite a lot. And she got it immediately. And but then, as I say, it took her quite a long time. It went green. It sort of, you know, all the things happened, exploded in its jar. And eventually we got it right. And the other thing I said to her when I was developing it, because it's got sort of key complexes in that help with your lymph and also help with tiredness. But I said to her, I not only want the best you can do in terms of performance and how effective it'll be, but it has to be a fabulous experience. So like you with the treatment, it's got to be, you look at it, you smell it, you apply it, you use it, everything about it. It's got to be so good that it's a joy. You almost use it in spite of itself. So you're not looking at it going, you know, for whatever reason you bought Airlight, I've got heavy legs, deeply unsexy, or I've got cellulite, hate myself, I've got to put this stuff on, it smells, it doesn't go in quickly, I hate it.
It's just a joy to use.
I've forgotten myself. I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to.
But what I love about it is that you have it in 2 sizes.
We've now got it in. We've actually got it in 3 plus a little 20 ml tube. But we haven't talked too much about that. But yeah, you're right. 100 ml as well.
That's the one I've got in my gym bag. That's the one I love going out with, and then this is at home.
Yeah.
I use it on my arms. I use it all over my body.
Yeah. Well, hold that thought.
Walking on air.
Yeah, it's the one. Yeah.
Obsessed.
And I think, you see, the other thing I felt, and I know you'll be the same with this, but I think there was I felt that the leg market it was a bit like the anti-aging market. It was awfully sort of shouty, you know, and I just wanted to see, I felt my reader, and that was the other thing I got from journalism, my journalism years. It was that sort of interaction. And you will have got this with the people you talk to that you were working with. You know, they tell you things and you think, oh my God, I never even thought of that. And I just felt that there was a level of charm that was required. You know, there was no need for this kind of get rid of it in 5 minutes. You know, that was just not going to. And I think also what had happened with cellulite products was that people had almost stopped making them because they realized that the consumers had become very wary, because they were being sold claims that they knew, you know, they're not idiots. They know you can't get rid of fat through a cream. So
they weren't backed up. And what happened was the consumer and the reader got smarter.
Yeah, exactly.
And the brands had to then pivot and catch up.
Exactly.
Because of the amount of education on Inky's ingredients now, and what they do and how they perform. So yeah, you couldn't get away with, you know, some menthol and a caffeine anymore.
No, it's true. It's totally true. So yes, so that was the story, and then sort of developing it. So I used 2 complexes, and I'll just tell you quickly about those. There's one called Pro Contour, and that one is about this is where we come back to the lymph, because Pro Contour works to release the fluid right, that gets trapped around the fat cells. Now that is what cellulite is. So you were saying earlier,
what cellulite?
Yeah, that is what cellulite is. So it's not fat per se. It's the environment around the fat cells.
Around the fat cells.
Exactly. So what happens is, if you're not as active as you could be, or it can be hormonal. I know that estrogen has a huge impact on all this. And I'm doing lots of research at the moment, and it's just fascinating. And the problem is that the fluid then gets trapped around the fat cells, and that's what pushes them out of alignment. And that's how the bumpiness starts.
Do you think it's hereditary, Kate?
Oh, yeah. 100%. If your mum had it, you got her to thank.
Right.
It totally is. But you can, it's like all of these things. It's like your skin and how you age. It's, you know, there's a sort of inherent where you are, your DNA, and then there's
the environmental.
Exactly. So, you know, if you are then predisposed, if you like, to cellulite, and then you live a life where you are eating plenty of food with lots of refined carbs, lots of sugar, lots of salt, all the things we know about, you will make it worse. Now, what's really interesting, and this is another body of research I really want to do more of, is how cellulite affects different cultures. Because you'll find in places like the Far East, women don't really have cellulite, and it's because they eat a macrobiotic diet, which is close to the ground. Whereas somewhere like Germany is a big problem in Germany, cellulite.
Italy I found as well.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about my clients. I'm just thinking about my beautiful clients who I love.
Beautiful clients.
Thinking about my bodies and my canvases and what they look like. And Italy is Italian skin.
Yeah, because their diet's so healthy. I mean, that Mediterranean diet is lovely, but there is quite a lot of there's cheese, there's pasta.
There's not as much activity.
No.
It's a slower pace, so I think that might contribute to that.
Good point. So that's all very interesting as well. So essentially Pro-Contour helps to release that trapped fluid. And I guess what happens with the years, or what does happen with the years, is that the supportive fibers around between the skin layers start to lose their elasticity, and the collagen diminishes. And so that all becomes a bit slack. So it all just sort of slightly, I mean, for want of a better word, falls apart. And so you get this sort of lumpiness, which is completely real, completely natural. It is not an illness. It's just something that happens. It's like skin crepiness, dryness, all of those things. You can help it. That's what I'm saying. You may not. Some women find they can get rid of it. Some women find they can improve the look of it. Not everybody's bothered by it.
I find I suppose because I'm with naked bodies most days, what I see and hear a lot is, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry you have to see this, I'm sorry for that. A lot of just sort of anguish around cellulite. You know, I'm really, oh God, I've got, oh don't, oh, you know, it's you know, it's the texture, it's, have I got cellulite? They ask me, you know, has my cellulite got better since you, so it's, everyone's on a journey. And I just want that beautiful peacock effect of when they look in the mirror, and it's that self-acceptance. And I think both our brands are trying to reach that. And the improvements, and they work. You know, the products that work.
It's personal best. And it's getting, and as you say, it is about them working, and there's no point. I don't know about you, but I mean, after this journey of creating a brand, every day I wake up and think, I love it. I love my brand. I cannot imagine doing it if you had something that didn't work. I don't know how you'd.
The authenticity conversation is very, very key here, because I'm the same as you, and I wake up and I go, thank God my product is good and I believe in it. Because 2 years on, I don't think I would be here now.
No.
Because if you'd lie to yourself, it would be awful. We wouldn't put our name on the tin.
It's true. But I think it's interesting though, because also I think there probably is, you know, it's horses for courses as well. It's like there are products, there are brands that come up to be there at that time and then go, and then something else comes along. So there's a whole culture around that too.
That's true. How long you want to be in the game.
Yeah. But it was definitely, for me, it was about longevity. It was about creating, making a difference, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's that.
It's so wonderful to talk to you.
Thank you.
I want to do I want to do a video where we do both protocols all at one time. I will get it filmed.
Yeah.
Because then people will understand what
Yeah.
to do. Because I know we're in beautiful dresses and we're not going to get our skin out. But I will get it filmed because they go so well together.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
Really
and
do.
And you know what? It's the same. It's the same. Both products. It's the same thing as I don't know, having a wonderful blow dry, having a new lipstick, new pair of shoes, heels, whatever it is. That thing that really, you cannot underestimate that feeling. And I know in my beauty writing years, quite often I'd meet with people who'd be sort of a little bit kind of sniffy about beauty. I don't think people are so much anymore. I think people now understand the significance in terms of how key it is to a woman's well-being. But I used to find myself wanting to say so badly, I wish I could explain this feeling of how transforming a woman or transforming a reader or consumer, how much better what that does for that person's self-esteem and how they feel about it. But you can't explain it, you have to see it and experience it, which very often people, you know, unless they experience it themselves, don't get. But I really think it's so important, and that comes back to, you know, high performance product, a product that works and gives you back a bit of yourself. You know, I really believe that.
Kate, where are you, just for everyone, where are you sold?
Wow. Well, now, well, we have for a while, but I mean, globally. So we sell, obviously here in the UK. We started really tiny, you know, we really did. And those were in the sort of lucky days when it was a very organic growth. And I started actually at Liberty, and I made 500 jars. Yeah, they were brilliant. And they paid up front for that. So they essentially paid for my first run.
Believed in that.
Yeah, they were brilliant. And then I didn't think about creating any more, and they all sold. And they said, Liberty came back and said, have you got any more? I said, well, I've got a couple more boxes in my sitting room, but that's it. So then I went back into production in the new year, and we went from there. And now, yes, I mean, pretty much, obviously off our own site, yes. Legology site, right. But also, I mean, Net-a-Porter, we sell at Violet Grey in LA, we sell, goodness, trying to think of everywhere, and pretty much everywhere, look fantastic everywhere.
Brilliant.
We'd like to be, we are pretty much there, and we're now looking at more opportunities in the professional environment, because I think that makes a lot of sense. As you say, the treatment experience is so key, and that is how you bring your product and you show your product off, you know, in the best possible way. You get people to smell it and really properly experience it. So that is something we're working on now.
Oh, good. I was just about to ask you, where can you actually go and get a treatment done? We need Legologies, a bit like, you know, with a face gym. I need it on my street corners. Yeah. I would be in there having a limp.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
We need some little Legologists. We have been working on it a while. It is not easy, as you know, because they've got to be the right therapists. They've got to do it right. And I did actually I started wanting to do this a couple of years ago, and I remember saying to somebody, it's easy, just get some people in, train them and roll it out. And whenever I see her now, she says to me, have you rolled it out yet? I'm still rolling it out. So it's really hard because, as you know, the standard has to be absolutely perfect. But no, we do have a protocol. We have a signature leg treatment protocol, which is an hour long, and we practice it privately at the moment. It will be more widely available, and it's been developed for us by a wonderful lady, and it is one of those before and after experiences, which is with your legs, I think fairly rare. So yeah, you must come and try it.
Oh, but I've been living in there.
When your veins are better.
Yeah, no, they are. They're improving. They're much better. But thank you to this, because it's just helping so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Kate.
It really is. And I think it's about, you know, as I was saying earlier, it's about a problem which is just deeply unsexy, and finding a sort of a slightly glamorous answer to it, rather than.
Well, it's a sophisticated answer. You know, it feels clinical. It looks clinical. It feels, you know, I feel like, you know, I'm in a very expensive French salon when I'm using this, you know, it's that French experience. Beautiful. Very clever.
Yeah. Well, let's do that video.
Oh, I'll do that. Don't you worry. On that. Hey, thank you for your time.
Pleasure. Really enjoyed it.
Oh, it's so wonderful to speak to you. Thank you.
Well, listen, have a great evening.
And thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah.
Take care.
Cheerio then.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
Kate.